Welcome to Fitzdog Radio. It's an exciting week, depending on who you are. For some people, I don't know, maybe you're taking it hard. Trump's down in Florida. If you're a Democrat, I think you feel a huge sigh of relief. I'm trying to hold on to the good feeling. I find that joy is fleeting. It's such a trite thing to say, but it really is a struggle to have something wonderful happen and to not find a way to make yourself default back to feeling bad. What kind of fucking Irish, it's raining out again and it's 30 degrees bullshit mentality is that? I live in sunny California. I got a beautiful wife, healthy kids, do what I love for a living. Why the fuck am I not happy all the time? Especially after my candidate is inaugurated, you know? And I really I wasn't able to relax until literally the second they swore him in. And I was like, okay, it's over. It's over. It's like a horror movie where you keep thinking that the killer is dead. And then the killer has a bunch of wingnuts in the Senate that are trying to overturn votes. And you go, no, he's not dead yet. But now he's fucking dead. Roll the credits. If you're a Trump supporter, look. We welcome you in the fold. I really do believe there's going to be a unifying thing happening. I don't know how much so, but I will talk to my friend. I haven't talked to my friend who's two friends that are Republicans, but that were asshole Republicans, the kind of people that you went like, all right, let's hang out and we won't talk politics. And then they do. And it's like, well, then fuck you, because there's nothing constructive about talking to you about it. If there was, I got plenty of Republican friends that I talk to all the time. And I enjoy hearing both sides of it. I truly enjoy a constructive talk where I can see the other side and I can challenge my views and I can feel like I'm not in a bubble. Like gay porn. I put it on. I just want to know for an hour and a half that I'm not gay. So I expose myself to it. All right, 2 hours. That's it. That's it. So the funniest thing this week, I'm very much going down I'm in quarantine right now. As we speak, I'm taping this podcast about 4 days before it airs because my fine producers and editors over at Midcoast Media prefer it that way. I don't know that I do. Maybe we have to have a talk because sometimes I'll be talking about shit and then it's outdated by the time Tuesday rolls around. But for the time being, I'm taping this 4 or 5 days ahead of time. And so I'm in quarantine since I got back from Tempe, Arizona. You could literally see the COVID dribbling out of people's mouths. People just coughing and anyway, so I am in the back and I gotta tell you, I'm fucking loving parts of it. I feel very mixed. I feel guilty that I'm enjoying parts of it, and I feel extremely sad at other times and lonely that my wife is literally 20 feet away and I can't touch her, hug her. I can't hug my kids. I can't just sit there in the TV room and watch a movie with her. Anyway, but I'm also sitting in the back having a fucking blast. Oh, yeah. Throwing a lot of darts. My dart game is I'll take anybody on. I once had a listener challenge me to darts virtually. I don't even know what city this guy was in. And we did it. We played like 5 games on Zoom, and I kicked his ass. Anyway, so I'm doing that. I'm watching a lot of TV. You guys were nice, but you guys were nice enough to send in some ideas. I've been soliciting ideas for the quarantine, and I watched some stuff. Christy Vadnais said favorite music documentaries are One Giant Leap and Throw Down Your Heart, since you used to have a fondness for hippie girls. Used to? What, are you shitting me? Throw me a little patchouli oil and armpit hair, I'm back on. You might have seen these while throwing a move on those lucky ladies. inspiring. Okay, I'll check those out. I still got a couple days left. And then Warwick Poole says, if you haven't watched it yet, I think you'd really enjoy Peep Show. It's hilarious and British if you can get over your hatred of the Brits. I can, in fact. It's on Hulu. Yes, I can get over my hatred for the Brits because it's the empire I hate. It's not the people. The current people, they're not so bad. They're still a little haughty. They're a little judgmental. They're a little sanctimonious. But no, I'm good friends with a lot of Brits, and I enjoy their comedies. Ricky Gervais, I got to say, The Office and Extras are two of the greatest sitcoms in history. Do I like his stand-up? Do I like when he gets Seinfeld, Chris Rock, and Louie together and pretends he's on the same level as them, having a chat, as if the implication being that he belongs in that fucking circle of comedy? Not so much. But anyway, so one of the things I went down the rabbit hole watching while in quarantine was I can't watch enough Norm Macdonald. He's got, I think it's called Norm Macdonald's Got a Show on Netflix. They only did like 10 episodes, but every one of them is great and different, yet the same format, but he managed to get a totally different experience out of every guest. Judge Judy, he just the most oddball guest, Jane Fonda, and they're great. And so then I'm looking at, and Larry King. So then I'm watching more of him, and Larry King then has Norm on his show. And Larry asked Norm, he says, what's something that people don't know about you? And Norm goes, I'm a deeply closeted gay guy. And you see like a shark smelling blood. Larry King just goes, huh? What? Really? Really? No kidding. And then he goes, yeah, I'm deeply in the closet. And he goes, so that means you're very, very gay. And Norm says, well, I would never say that. And Larry King goes, yeah, but doesn't that mean you're gay? And Norm goes, hey, easy, buddy. And it was like an Abbott and Costello routine. Larry King was not in on the joke. And it went back and forth for a while. It was really fucking funny. Norm, man. I need him back on the show. It's been a while. He's been on I think he's been on 3 times. It's been a few years. It's time. It's very hard to get Norm to do anything, though. Kind of does his own thing. Thang. That's right. I don't say thing. I say thang. Football this weekend. Last weekend of playoffs. As you know, if you listen to Sunday Papers, I've got a standing bet with Mike Gibbons all year. I've got the Buccaneers giving points in every game all season at $50 a game, and I'm now up $150. And the Bucs are getting points this weekend, which should be interesting. Antonio Brown is injured, so that's going to hurt them. But it's a win-win for me because I used to love Tom Brady. Now I fucking hate his guts. I think he's a selfish, self-involved. He's got so much money, and he took $2 million he took from the government during this PPP relief program. He made fucking $30 million last year. His wife made more, and he took that money and he bought a yacht with it. Fuck you, Tom Brady. So if the Bucs win, I make money. If they lose, I get to see Tom Brady lose. So I'm watching that game. And I just love how all these New England fans just thought that Tom Brady represented them. He's our guy. He loves us. No, he doesn't. He loved the money. He loved the championships. The second he got any fucking grief, he just was like, all right, I'm going to go to Florida and get a big ass house. I'm going to buy a yacht. I'm going to get friends that are better looking than you fucking fat ass red nosed guys from Southie, jeering him if he throws an interception. You know how fast New England fans turn on you? He hated that. He never admitted it, but he hated it. He's not what he seems, people. He's not. And I know him. I've played football with Tom Brady. Those of you that have listened to the show know this is true. I played touch football with Tom Brady at the Harvard football field during a benefit for the Best Buddies, who he later took money from. After being their spokesman, he took money from them to start his own foundation because he didn't have enough. Fuck you, Tom Brady. Anyway, couple letters from you guys. What do we get? John Gotts said, I think it's pronounced Isbell, but don't change it. He's talking about Jason Isbell, who I call Isbell. He says, I think it's hilarious you say his name incorrectly because some of his fans are losing their minds. I listen and laugh my ass off. I also think you should interview him. He's liberal and very funny. At least follow his Twitter. Why should I? I've told people again and again, and I don't like his music. I don't think it's got any balls to it. I don't think it doesn't move me. It's just there. It's just a country. It's like the worst version of country. And people won't get. So then I got a message from a woman who said not to use her name, who said, I have anxiety and I had a therapist for my postpartum depression. One day she told me to look up Jason Isbell's song Anxiety. I did and was immediately turned off. I thought, oh, it's just some dorky local musician who probably plays local bars. Cue me shocked as fuck to find out this dude has a major following? Question mark? Anyway, I agree with you. I will never understand his music. It seems very much in line with ladies who love Oprah magazine quotes. Ha ha! Yeah. Then I got a nice letter from Warren Nacy, who says, I discovered this chap while researching New Zealand sporting heroes and thought of your good self. He was Bob Fitzsimmons, promoted as the Freckled Wonder. That's right. Bob Fitzsimmons was a heavyweight, He fought as a heavyweight, even though he didn't weigh that much. He was, and then this is before they had a light heavyweight division, and he was a world champion. Bob Fitzsimmons, which was my father's name, and this guy actually was born in England, and I believe his parents were from Ireland, but he was born in England, and then he went over and fought in New Zealand, and apparently he was like famously the most powerful puncher around. Like to this day, people talk about him as being maybe the most powerful puncher of all time. He worked as a blacksmith, I think, and he had this crazy upper body strength, and he used to he killed a guy. That's a tough one to get over. And then there's this really funny story about Wyatt Earp. You know, the outlaw Wyatt Earp. Was he a lawman or an outlaw? I think he was an outlaw. I remember in that miniseries Deadwood, Wyatt Earp was in it. And I think he was on the lam. Yeah. Anyway, he was a referee. They couldn't find a ref, and so Wyatt Earp stepped in and refed a fight for him. Anyway, Bob Fitzsimmons. I am exercising. I have taken advantage of the new year I'm good at launching resolutions, and my resolution is to exercise. They say it helps with depression, which I struggle with, and it really does help, but it's like depression fighting exercise the entire time. I'm running and everything feels heavy, and I have to think positive thoughts. I listened to Eat a Peach by Allman Brothers yesterday. It helped me get out of it. And, well, here's another thing that'll help you if you do have depression or anxiety. This is a sponsor of the show that I deeply believe in. It's one of the ones I really feel good about. BetterHelp online counseling. This is your life, you know? This is your well-being. It's how you can have everything in place but not feel good. And you have the opportunity to change that. BetterHelp offers online. You do it online. They're all licensed therapists, and they deal with every issue: anxiety, stress, relationship conflicts. You got trouble sleeping. Maybe you're gay and you're coming out and you're dealing with that. Trauma, Grief. How about some grief that you bottle up you need to deal with? You don't have to do this forever. Check it out. Give it a shot. Give yourself 3 months and see if it doesn't affect your life. With BetterHelp, they make it simple. You fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs. They match you with a counselor in less than 48 hours. Sometimes you need somebody right away. You can easily schedule up to sessions. You can do it over the phone, over their site. Everything you share is completely confidential. If you don't like your therapist, get a new one. No additional charge. No harm, no foul. Join the 1 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced BetterHelp counselor. BetterHelp is a convenient and affordable option, and our listeners get 10% off your first month with the discount code Fitzdog. Get started today with betterhelp.com/Fitzdog with a Z. Look, there's no shame in asking for help. You will thank me. Okay. Before we get, oh God, David Feldman's my guest. We're going to get to him in a second, but we had some funny nicknames people sent in. I've asked you to send me what your nickname was, and we've gotten a fucking hilarious assortment of these. Every nickname has a good story behind it. So this guy, he says, one day in elementary school in Scotland, my mum accidentally gave me my sister's Barbie lunchbox. Everybody laughed at me in the lunch hall when it was discovered. I am now successful, middle-aged dentist who since that day has carried the nickname Barbie. Regards, Louie Barbie. That is fantastic. And at a certain point, you got to embrace it. You know, Barbie. Imagine Scottish guys are like the toughest guys around. They're miserable. They have red hair. It's cold. Their houses are drafty. And his name is Barbie. Would you go to a dentist named Barbie if it was a man? I would. This is from Corey Harper. He says, I got 2 nicknames I've been given and earned. First was as a teenager when trying to dress nice in the days of baggy jeans. I wore a polo shirt and tight jeans. My friends noticed and gave me the name Bulge. Yeah. I wonder if he assisted that nickname. Because I know I was around during tight jeans in the 80s. And it was not uncommon for somebody to pad it, to put a sock down there. So maybe he got the assist. Second, on his 30th birthday, also like you, hair was receded. Growing it out, decided, fuck it, to just shave it. My friend's electric razor sucked, kept cutting out, leaving patches all over my head. Walked in, and my best friend started laughing his ass off and said it looked like I had the mange. So ever since, I've been known as Mange. Mange. Yeah, that sounds dirty. I wouldn't want that one. That's where you give your friend a couple bucks and go, hey, let's lay low on the mange thing before it starts to accumulate followers. Nick DeLuca. Hey, when your name's Nick DeLuca, you don't want a fucking nickname because that's a badass guinea name. He says, I got the nickname Pop-Tart in basic training. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically he was eating Pop-Tarts in the latrine and somebody ratted him out. And so they called him Pop-Tart. He says, but my original nickname is the Heeb, given to me by my uncle because I never shared my toys. That's Italian uncles for you. Yep, it certainly is. Is it racist to say that the Italians are racist? Is it racist for me to say that there's a race of people that are racist? Because the Italians are it. They have coined most of the words for Jews and black people over the years in a creative way. I respect it. Dylan Caldwell. Back in high school, we used to host freestyle rap battles in the parking lot behind the school. After I scorched the earth with a hot freestyle of my own, I was adorned the rap name Wonder Bread by a classmate, probably based off the fact that I'm a heavyset man shaped like a loaf of bread. Yeah, but you're Wonder Bread, man. That day, at that time, You were fucking Wonder Bread, Dylan. Who doesn't love Wonder Bread? All right, let's get to it. My guest today, I spoke to him a couple days ago. God, do I love talking to him. You'll notice I have a tissue in my hand in advance because I know he's going to make me cry. He's just the funniest. He's a stand-up comic extraordinaire, but he really has made most of his living as a writer. He's won a bunch of Emmys, written for everybody. He's written for Roseanne, Dennis Miller, Bill Maher, Jon Stewart, Robert Smigel, Steve Martin, Martin Short, Robin Williams, everybody. And he's what you'd call a comics comic. And he's also a writer's writer. He's a writer that other writers quote. And I think you'll enjoy this little chat. Here he is, David Feldman. Welcome to the interview portion of Fitzdog Radio. You've heard me, I don't rant, I ramble. You've heard me ramble for 20 minutes. And now is the pre-recorded interview from last week. I'm breaking the time-space continuum because I'm talking about it in the past tense, when in fact, we are present. And we're with David Feldman, my old friend. And can we call you a curmudgeon?
Sure. Yeah.
It feels like there's an age minimum for curmudgeon.
Yeah.
60?
I would say, yeah, more mudgeon than cur lately. let me check my pants. Yeah, a lot of mudgeon in there.
Yeah, like the great Barry Crimmins.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm a curmudgeon. Today I am. Today I don't want to do it. I'm glad to see you. This is like talking to Brian Kiley. I'll go 6 months without talking to Brian Kiley and think, why don't I talk to him every day?
Right.
And I'm looking at you, I'm thinking, why don't I talk to Greg Fitzsimmons every day?
All right, let's do it more. Let's at least set up a text that we stay on the text.
Yes.
Kiley's Twitter account is so fucking good. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
Just little bullets every day, just tight, perfect.
Yes.
I just retweeted one of them yesterday. So
it's nice. So it's nice to still have the platform. Some of us haven't been deplatformed by Twitter. Right. I lost they took away my Twitter account.
No.
I go down to Washington, D.C. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. Do I sound hoarse, by the way? Because they used a new flavor of tear gas in the Capitol, and
no, you don't sound hoarse, but I remember you had that horse head on. I loved some of the costumes these guys came up with. Like this was like Mardi Gras. They were just, and it must have been so rewarding.
Well, Mardi Gras, you get laid. I don't think these guys were getting laid.
Well, that was 2 weeks ago. Today is the day that we saw Biden get inaugurated, which is why I'm surprised you're in a curmudgeon-y mood. Aren't you a little bit hopeful today?
I hate him.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's just a celebration of ambition. Yeah. All it is like, hey, ambitions succeeds, and let's savor success. And here's Kamala, who stands for nothing other than ambition and success. Doesn't it make you proud to want to be successful and ambitious and do anything to get ahead? I do not like Biden at all. He's already I don't mean to start off on a bad note.
No, but
he's already lied about the public option, and he's lied about the $2,000. People are dying. F him. Kamala. Whatever. Can't stand them.
Now,
complete disappointment.
I feel that way about comedians. I feel like when I see ambition in comedians, I feel like that negates whatever talent they have. I feel like the talent should be the only thing carrying you, which is why you and I have been stuck in the middle for decades. Because you do actually have to try.
Yeah, any comic who's happy to be there needs to get out of the business. Anybody who jumps up on the stage and just is so glad and can't wait to see the audience, just go away. You're not funny.
When I hear somebody like, let's say, Ellen DeGeneres talk about how they do it because it brings joy to people, put a fucking gun in your mouth.
Oh, wait a second.
That is not why you do it. None of us do it because we want to bring joy to people's faces. We do it because we're selfish, we're narcissistic, and we want to be in control of a bunch of people who are forced to shut up. That's it. What percentage of you does it to bring joy to people?
Right. Right. If you want to bring joy to people, join the Peace Corps.
Yeah, work as a candy striper at the hospital.
I'm working out mommy issues here. Now shut the fuck up and let me scream at you assholes for 45 minutes.
And if one of you has an issue with it, there are two big black guys in the back that will throw you out of the club. That's the best.
Yeah, and don't even laugh because it screws up my timing.
Yeah.
Just shut up, sit.
Right. I know I did some car shows where people sit in their cars and you perform for them and you can't hear laughter. I fucking loved it. I loved it. It didn't interrupt my flow.
The great thing about doing these car shows is you don't have to ask anybody where they're from. It already says on the license plates.
Right. Right. Except when you have a walkout, you hear the engine start.
I sweeten my drive-in shows by I keep Canadian geese in my pants, and they go. People think I'm killing. Well, I am. I'm killing the Canadian geese, but it sounds like I'm.
Yeah, but it feels good. Feels good when he flies south, doesn't it?
Frogwa. I make my own frogwa. With my mudgeon and my. I hate life.
It's tough.
I'm so
it's hard right
people.
now because, not only do we have to try to keep abreast of politics, we have to also have sex with all those children and kill them.
Yes. And then report back to Tom Hanks, and you got to give him half the blood.
Yep.
Why does he get half my blood?
I know. It's like, who came up with that rule?
Yeah. That's the only part of QAnon I like.
Yeah.
Is that Tom Hanks is running a pedophile ring. I went, you know what? I would spread that lie. Just cause.
Yeah, and Will Smith has got to be involved. He is the black Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I'm all for that part.
Yeah. Oh.
Cute.
I brought a tissue because you always make me cry.
You always make me cry.
I cry when I laugh, like immediately. And I guess so does my sister and so does my mom.
Well, they won't. There'll be no tears shed during this interview for your family. Do you get along with your mom?
I love my mom.
Good.
I mean,
Good.
A very mixed relationship because she didn't have a lot of tools to mother because she was one of 6, grew up dirt poor in the Bronx for immigrant parents. And there wasn't a lot of money and there wasn't a lot of training. She was the youngest. So the mother banned her from the kitchen. She didn't know how to cook. She didn't know how to raise kids because her mother didn't raise her. And she did absolutely the best she could. And I think she's a wonderful, loving, joyous woman. And sometimes I think about, because, she's 78 and you really start thinking about when she's going to pass and how much money I'm going to get. I try to slow her down. She'll be like, yeah, I'm going golf. And I'm like, maybe 9 holes is fine. You can carry your bag. You don't need to take a cart.
If you had I don't know, maybe you do have an inheritance, but if you had an inheritance, how big an asshole would you be at work?
At work?
It's like, what am I,
a salesman? What's my work?
Well, I mean, even if you had money coming to you, would you put up with any shit from anybody?
No. You're talking about like a multi-million-dollar inheritance?
Yeah, just enough. If you don't have to work, you're only working because, you went into rehab and they said you got to make something out of your life.
Yeah.
You just can't have fun with your parents' money.
Right.
I'd be the biggest asshole in the world.
That would be so much fun to be at a job you didn't need. And I would probably be better at it. Because when I was in my 20s, I wrote for Bill Maher. And
I was just going to tell my Bill Maher story.
Good, we'll stack them.
Good, go ahead.
I didn't give a fuck. I used to it was in New York City, back when it was in New York. And I lived in Chelsea, and they recorded up on the west side, 54th Street or whatever, 57th Street. And I used to rollerblade to work. I would get there late. I would fucking just make everybody laugh. I wrote a minimal amount of stuff. They had me doing warm-up. I was doing warm-up, and I was doing nothing but crowd work, jokes. And I got fired. And I didn't give a fuck. And I never had so much fun. Because I was in my 20s, and things were going well. I had just done the Montreal Comedy Festival. I had a development deal with Fox. I didn't need him. And it drove him crazy. Drove him fucking nuts because there was no fear in my eyes.
Right. There's no fear in your eyes.
Yeah.
That's right. Once you give up, I was, not to bring up Martin Luther King, but he said, once you give up ambition and wanting to be wealthy in America, you're free. That's the first step towards freedom. And I thought about that. That's exactly what you had. Well, actually, no, because you were eyeing wealth. You had a development deal with Fox.
Yeah.
But I would love. Well, I felt the closest. First of all, I love Bill Maher, and it's the best job I ever had. I worked on Real Time, and it was the best job. And I think he's the bravest. And
he's also got like the best writing staff.
Writing staff. But, he has his, when you write for him, it's very competitive. They keep score of everything. And anyway, but it was, of all the jobs I've had, it was the most fun.
It's the only writing job I've ever had where they kept score, where they literally would, in the script, put your initials next to the jokes that you wrote. Right. And every day there was a leaderboard of who got in the most jokes. So
and the trick is not to pay attention to it.
Right. But you can't not, because if you don't score any jokes, it's a 13-week contract. I think I got 2 13-week contracts before I got fired. And you're always looking over your shoulder.
So I got called in. Now I had another job lined up. So this is what it feels like to have money, like knowing you have another job.
Yeah.
And they said, Bill's unhappy with your writing. And, I had been doing it for a long time. And I knew that scoreboard thing, because it was bullshit. It was just, Bill, they said, Bill wants you to write better. And I said, tell Bill to read better. They go, what? Tell him to read my stuff better. And I don't think they told him that, but I was already at another job. I thought, boy, that felt really good. What's it like to be successful? That must be what it's like to be successful.
Yeah, right.
If I had said that to his face, he would have called up HBO and said, we have to give this man his own show. That's the secret to success. Like he would, if he had said to me, write better, and I said, no, you read better, he'd go, I love this guy.
Yeah.
But we all cower because we're afraid, we want
and just to give some context to that exchange, my guest, David Feldman, has won 3.
I've lost. Focus on what I've lost.
No, don't be deprecating. He won 3 Primetime Emmys, 4 Writers Guild Awards, and a Cable Ace Award.
That's, yes.
But I'm just saying, you won all of those before you worked for Bill Maher.
Yes.
So for him to say that your writing makes him unhappy, first of all, bad writing
all it does, it either makes you laugh or it doesn't. But if you're taking it so far down the spectrum that he's unhappy reading your comedy, yeah, that's
well, first of all, it was the best job I've ever had. It was the best writing set. I love Bill Maher. So but you know, he in his defense, he pretty much treated the writing staff as a unit, as opposed, he didn't attack anybody individually.
Yeah.
So if he was upset with the writing, it was the group. And so I think he's incredibly brave. I'm just telling that story because he is a boss. Yeah. And all bosses, you know, by their very nature, are assholes.
All right, I play a game called Rankum on Fitzdog Radio, and you've played it before, and you're one of the braver players of the game because you don't give a fuck.
Yes, I do.
I'm going to read you 3 people you've worked for, and you're then going to rank them.
In terms of what?
Whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I'm not here to tell you how to rank things. Joy Behar, Bette Midler, and Roseanne.
Well, rank in terms of what?
You could do it by how they treated you. You could do it by how important the job was.
Well, Roseanne was my first writing job. I got hired by Tom Arnold. Roseanne.
That was what did you done before that? Before
I
you
was
got
a stand-up.
Oh, no. Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know you didn't have any smaller. That's a big job as your first one.
That was my first job.
Wow.
It was to write on the sitcom. And, you know, Tom Arnold taught me, you know, what little I know about sitcoms. But Roseanne is a deeply, deeply mentally ill, you know, multi-personality and doesn't belong on television. I mean, this goes back to the early days of television when somebody is severely deformed physically or mentally. You don't use them for comedic purposes. And that's the problem with Roseanne, that people make money off this oddity. You know, It's a freak show. She's a psychological freak show. She's demented, and she should be protected from herself and not be put on television or YouTube or she's like a carnival oddity.
It was like, remember when Brett Butler, who I think is hilarious and a very good comedian, but when she got her show after a number of years, she really had a mental breakdown, and they kept her on the air for 2 more years because if people don't understand syndication works, you have to do like 80 or 100 episodes before the real like crazy money starts coming. And she was within a couple of years of that. And so they just propped her up. They got her drugs. She was saying perverted shit to kids on set. She was out of control. Network didn't give a shit.
Right. Phil Spector.
Right.
Phil Spector, great murderer. If you needed to rub out an actress, he was the guy you called. Clean job, hard to convict. Creative. Yeah. But this music that he made, it was so disgusting. But people hired him to commit these murders, and they were willing to go,
Yeah.
I'll the wall of sound bullshit. I'll forgive him for that. It
was the soundtrack for murder, really.
How many people knew? I was just talking to a friend of mine who is in the record industry, and he said, yeah, we knew that he played with guns and fired them, but he was a hit maker.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I remember hearing Joan Rivers talk about he dated her best friend or a makeup artist. I can't remember which. Usually it's the same when you're a big celebrity. And he brandished a gun, hit her with it, and then and Joan invited him to her party afterwards because the girl was still dating him. And he came to the party and he got shit-faced, and he pulled a gun on a famous celebrity there, and they threw him out. Yeah, he was fucking nuts.
Right. Nobody thinks to call the cops. You know, it's like Harvey Weinstein. Nobody just thinks, hey, maybe this is illegal. I mean, how many office situations have you been in where you've gotten away with stuff because people don't call people. And anyway, yeah.
Did you get caught masturbating on a job? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm pretty good at that. Like right now, I got Jeffrey Toobin going down on me right now. See, no hands, Mama. I got my Jeffrey Toobin.
That's great.
Poor Jeffrey.
I know. I really liked him. He was one of my favorite writers.
Yeah.
And a smart dude. He was one of the best writers they had at the New Yorker.
And you know those prima donnas from the New Yorker, they're in on the Zoom call and they don't like him. They're jealous of him. And he starts jerking off and nobody, first of all, you can't look away. Like, did he really hurt anybody?
Yeah, I know.
Just look away.
Just look away.
You've never seen a guy jerking off before? Like he's going to do it on purpose. Like he's it's not like he was an exhibitionist. Give the guy a break.
Yeah, he wasn't direct. The great thing about a Zoom call is they can't tell which person you're staring at while you're whacking off. So that kind of takes that off you. Mm-hmm. All right. So Roseanne is, I guess, in last place. You still got.
I would rank her in terms of psychotics. I would put her at the top.
Oh, you're going to go psychotic. Okay. And then Bette Midler and Joy Behar.
Well, Bette Midler, I worked for briefly. So I don't really know her. I just know that she's really sweet and talented and kind.
Yeah.
And, I think she's too good for this world, Bette Midler. I think she's just, I don't know how she survived this business.
You sound like every gay man in America.
That's true.
Bette is from another world. This world doesn't deserve Bette Midler.
We can't do that anymore.
I know.
We're going to get complaints.
Yeah. No, we're not. That's the beauty of doing a podcast. There are zero. And if there is a complaint, I block them. That's it.
Yeah, you're right. You're
like
right.
The block function is like the two black guys at the door doing stand-up.
I know.
All right. So, and then Joy Behar.
Who doesn't love Joy Behar?
I'll tell you who doesn't.
Meghan McCain.
Meghan McCain.
Right.
And Artie Lange. We did an episode.
Who, by the way, the only difference is a blonde wig. They would be. I couldn't tell them apart. You put a blonde wig on Artie Lange, I'd go, "Hey, Meghan McCain lost weight."
We did an episode. I wrote on crashing, and I wrote this episode for Bill Burr. So we shot it in New York, and one of the scenes was the two of them at the 92nd Street Y, giving like a talk, and they're on a panel, and Artie shows up, and he's all zonked out on drugs. I mean, not in character, like Artie Lange.
In real life.
Yeah. And so he's wearing like sneakers with no laces, and he went after her because he thought he could get away with it. But he doesn't realize Joy is as sharp as they get.
Yes.
And she fucking eviscerated him. And he wasn't in the state of mind to really, protect himself.
Now, like Artie is somebody who borderline exploitation, because when he's not well, he should be left alone to get better.
Yeah, what is your thinking on the Bernie Brillstein question with whether it's Chris Farley or John Belushi? Do you think that he is responsible for their deaths?
Bernie Brillstein?
Yeah. Wasn't he their manager?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what. I wasn't privy to any of that.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they're dead and that there's less competition for me.
Is that why you're putting on weight? You're trying to be that guy?
Uh-huh. Why, do I look heavy? No. I think if somebody is on drugs and screwing up their life, the question is, do you keep them on your show? Or do you say, listen, you have to come back, you have to clean up, come back? I mean, do you want to make money off somebody who is falling apart? Then again, we're all dying and we're all falling apart. But
I think that Crashing was at least genuine in the fact that we wrote his part as him, as a guy that was struggling with addiction and who was sometimes on drugs, sometimes going to meetings, and we portrayed him in both ways. And ultimately, he did push it, to the point where people got a little uncomfortable. But I'll tell you what, the guy always knew his lines, always killed.
Always did his lines as well.
He did his lines. Yeah, he took a lot of good shots. He really needled himself.
You had to pay him in rolled up dollar bills, but
right. No. So I think if it was to the point where he couldn't function, it probably would have changed. But I think that Judd was very in touch with where Artie was at. He was very supportive of him, and really felt like, he had been sober for a long time when he gave him his break to get back on the show.
Well, it's more interesting. A person who's falling apart, is more interesting to talk to than somebody who is, hey, life is great. Let me show you pictures of my fucking family.
Right.
Tell you how much I love my fucking kids and my wife. And we're just so happy. That Dak Shepard type of thing where married to the frozen lady. Those two are despicable. Those are the most despicable.
Wait, who's he married to?
The frozen lady who's like selling some neoliberal horseshit snack that says, this candy bar saves lives because we will give 1/1,000,000th of a penny to starving children if you buy this. So basically the frozen lady is selling a candy bar and using malnutrition as a marketing ploy. Yeah. That kind of.
Right.
Dak Shepard.
How about John Legend and the other woman? There's another couple that wants to show you every fucking thing their child does. It's like, why don't you put down the phone and enjoy the moment a little bit with your family?
I want to cash in on my family.
Yeah.
We're modeling good behavior.
Right.
That's what Dak Shepard and the frozen lady are doing. We're modeling good behavior by exploiting children who are dying from malnutrition.
Yeah.
She's literally selling a bar that's called This Bar Saves Lives.
Wow.
And like she gives some of the money goes towards malnutrition. Yeah. And nobody said to her, do you realize you're exploiting starving people by doing this? That's
right.
You're using
it's like when John Lennon had this, what was it? This guitar kills fascists.
Well, I think that was Woody Guthrie.
Oh, Woody Guthrie. And
he said this. No, John Lennon said this fist punches first wives. I think that's what.
These feet walk away from first children.
John Lennon. I mean, the guy admitted to beating women.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, at least he was honest about it.
Yeah, and I mean, just all about love, except when it came from actually loving his children, who he like literally ignored, like Albert Einstein, ignored completely.
Right. Did Albert Einstein ignore his kids?
Albert Einstein had a kid while he was still struggling. You remember he was like a patent clerk or something.
Right.
And he had a kid with his wife, and he goes, this is a distraction. And he sent the kid to live with like the grandparents. And
so he was a genius.
And
that's genius.
Well, it's the theory of relativity. Give your kids to a relative.
Did he patent that idea? Does he get a residual every time you're an absentee dad? Right. Does he collect a residual?
And the quantum was, you got a quantum chance of ever fucking seeing me on your birthday.
He's right. Are you still in the parenting game, or have you?
I got a year left, and then I'm out. But
bullshit.
I'm not out of it, though. I'm not out of it.
Are they worth it? Think of all the toys you'd have right now.
The toys that I brought them, yeah.
No, toys that you could have.
Oh, right. I drive a fucking Prius.
Yeah.
I could be in a Mustang GT convertible.
You know what the reward is? You know what the reward is? They go into therapy.
Yeah.
That's the reward.
Yeah.
And somebody says, you need to distance yourself from this person. This is the new phenomenon of the shrinks saying, you need to set up boundaries and get as far away as you can from this person.
Yeah. And by the way, can you ask him to do direct deposit from now on these sessions?
Yeah, right. The person who's paying for the shrink.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to get as far away from
as far away, but just arm's distance, just so your hand can still reach, but not close enough to hug. Yeah. Close enough to grab, not close enough to hug.
Yeah. Are your kids funny?
My daughter is. She's a redhead. Redheads tend to be funny, don't they? Maybe because the world sees them in a different way. They're a little bit different already. And so there's something goofy about a redhead. But she was very into physical comedy when she was little. If she got a laugh on falling down, she would fall down 3 more times. And,
at least that's what you told Child Protective Services. Can we do these? I am so uptight about doing those jokes. Wow.
Yeah.
Is Fitzsimmons' daughter famous? Because she's the only kid in kindergarten wearing sunglasses. She must be a child actor. No. Every time I come on here, I get into trouble. I'm not doing this. I'm not getting. Every time I do this show, sometimes it gets me into a lot of trouble. So.
Oh my God. Yeah. The last time he did the podcast.
No, let's not even bring it up. Let's just, all right.
All right. Let's just say it was a big deal. All right. Dennis Miller, Bill Maher, Jon Stewart. Rank them.
Well, Jon Stewart, except for the fact that he hates unions, that he fought.
Yeah, that was a problem.
A big problem when you're the voice of the left, supposedly, and your own writers want to unionize, and he fights you tooth and nail. I had a problem with him at the Writers Guild, and he hired, I think, don't quote me on this, maybe the same union-busting law firm that is bankrolling Joe Biden's inauguration.
Really?
Joe Biden started his presidential run at a union-busting law firm in Philadelphia. And the head of the Writers Guild told me that John had hired a notorious union-busting lawyer to challenge one of my claims. But he's a neoliberal hack, Jon Stewart, and will, claim to be pro-union, but it's just the sad thing is you can't get any of the other writers to step forward. But now he's irrelevant, so it doesn't matter.
Does neoliberal mean that you're an appeaser?
Neoliberal means that you believe in capital. You believe that money and the free market, which doesn't really exist, should dictate how we live our lives. And you talk about being a liberal, and people think, oh, liberal is good. No, it means you want to liberate the marketplace from the shackles of unions. And so Jon Stewart punished and fought his writers. He didn't want them to unionize.
How is a neoliberal different than a libertarian?
Probably not that much difference. I don't. They come from the same. They kind of come from the same place where they're anti-government. It comes from fighting the king and wanting to liberate the people from the shackles of the monarch, and then the neoliberals use it to excuse economic misbehavior.
Right.
So.
And
but you get to call yourself a liberal, and you both, if you're a libertarian, you get to say, hey, I have no problem with gays marrying, and I'm for pot, and people, oh, he's a liberal. Mm-hmm. Well, except when it comes to being able to feed your family.
Yeah.
Like Jon Stewart, the writers, I'm a liberal if you're gay, or, but in terms of this job giving you health insurance, no, that's not what I'm for.
Huh. Okay. So he's down there. Now, where do you put Bill Maher and Dennis Miller on the list?
I love both of them.
Yeah.
Bill Maher and Dennis Miller, two of the bravest men I've ever met in my life. I don't agree with Dennis's politics, but nobody funnier.
Yeah.
Nobody funnier than Dennis Miller.
Really? No one's funnier than Dennis Miller.
No.
Wow. And you've worked with the funniest people in the business.
Everybody knows Dennis is the funniest.
Wow.
But you put Dennis in a room, he's like Rickles. He's like Rickles with a PhD.
Really?
That's the tragedy of his politics.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's less funny since he went to the right. In the sense that I don't think he's going for laughs the way he used to. But
if he has a switch, nobody's funnier.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting around with comedians, nobody's quicker. Nobody, And
wow.
Bill is great to work for and well informed and treats his writers with respect and, honorable guy.
Yeah. All right.
No problems with either one of them. Jon Stewart hates unions.
Yeah. Next is Steve.
In theory, he's one of those people. In theory, I like the idea of unions. Just keep them away from me.
Right. Next is Steve Martin, Martin Short, Robin Williams.
Heaven. That's, heaven.
I love it.
That's heaven. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What did you learn about yourself this year?
What did I learn about myself? Well, it's only 2 weeks.
Well, let's say the last 10 months, what have you learned about yourself?
I'm full of shit. That I'm a coward. That I'm a narcissist.
You learned all this in the last 10 months? Do you not ask around?
That I really, really want to be a superstar, because if I were really, really famous, I would dig this quarantine. Like quarantine, like if I had an excuse not to leave the apartment, like I can't go out because the paparazzi's there, I'd be I'm pretty happy. There's a little part of me that like, oh, mom's getting the vaccine? Really? I guess I could go visit her.
I think my daughter's in the same camp. She fucking loves it.
No Thanksgiving, no Christmas.
Yeah.
I'd like to be so famous that I can't even get out of bed, that they have to come in and treat I'm so famous I have bed sores.
Yeah. Howard Hughes.
I get out of bed.
You want to be Howard Hughes.
I can't even walk to the bathroom and take a leak.
Yeah.
The paparazzi might be. I just want to stay in bed and be that famous. That's what I realized about myself.
Right. Wow. What a year.
I'm kind of enjoying it, except for the fact that it's a pandemic.
Yeah.
What I really hate about myself is this hermiting. I'm pretty good at being a hermit.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I miss I think you've been somewhat of a hermit in New York in general since you moved there. Would you move there like 5-6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I remember
I was dodging subpoenas for a while.
Right.
which we don't need to go into.
You were dodging penis?
Subpoenas.
Oh, subpenis. Okay.
A subpenis. Yes.
Aren't balls technically subpenis?
You know what? I think subpenis is like what they used to say on Das Boot. It's not really gay. It's subpenis. You're like, it's just a bunch of guys. It's subpenis. You close your eyes and pretend it's a vagina.
If I'm in a bathtub, can I pretend that I have a subpenis and have it come out of the water? Just the crown come out of the water.
Hey, I'm really pissed off, by the way, because they're making it really hard to get the abortion pill now. And
are they really?
Yeah, and I've been using it off-label as a stool softener, and I just wanted to run that by you. That's a joke that I need to get booked at a comedy club to do that joke.
You have protesters surrounding your toilet.
I just wanted to throw that stool softener. You actually do a show. This is interesting. You're amazing. Like you're prepared and you have questions.
Oh, yeah. Well, you do
incredible.
Too. You do too.
Not like you. This is why you're successful.
I almost felt pressure to prepare a show more than I normally would because I'm always impressed by your questions. Why do you hate authority?
Why do I hate authority?
Yeah.
Because my father was
You start singing, and the cat's in the cradles and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon.
And, what about, was it that Harry Chapin?
Cat Stevens, wasn't it? No, I think it was Harry Chapin. Yeah.
Yeah, Cat Stevens said, it's not time to make a change. Harry Chapin. Maybe Harry Chapin should have asked, maybe you weren't a cute kid.
Exactly.
Maybe you were a bad kid and your father didn't want to spend time with you.
Yeah. He never mentions if he had a sibling that the dad.
Right. A better, more fun kid.
Yeah. The dad was out all the time. He was taking your brother to a baseball game. Kid was a riot. Fucking new stats. Should have seen him at the seventh inning stretch. He danced.
You know what I used to do with my kids? When they were acting up, we'd play Sophie's Choice. Which one? Quick. You never know when Sophie's Choice is going to be played. And then I would make them play it with the cats. We had 4 cats and 3 dogs at any given time.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not nice. I don't have a problem with authority figures. I have a problem with certain people who are authority. I'm a law and order guy.
Yeah.
I believe that we have 350 million Americans and only 2.5 million of them are in prison. I think at any given time, we should have 2.5 million Americans behind. I don't think we have enough. I'm being serious. This isn't a bit. 1% of the population are psychopaths. We should be locking up about 5 million Americans. They should be behind bars. It should just be a cross section of our population. Not black people, not more, Jared, Ivanka, Steve Bannon, those types. There's room.
The trouble is you can't even go after people like that because they've got good lawyers. I mean,
but we should lock up all the lawyers.
Yes.
Especially the divorce attorneys. If you're a divorce attorney, let's all pray that every divorce attorney is paralyzed from the neck down and has a permanent itch in their butt that they can't scratch. Let us all close our eyes and pray that every divorce attorney in America is paralyzed from the neck down. If you're a divorce attorney, kill yourself.
Yeah. I think attorneys in general, the rule should be if you represent somebody and they turn out to be guilty, you have to go to jail with them. then you would only take a case of somebody that you really believed in.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of the divorce attorney.
I was thinking that
there are people who get paid to ruin somebody's life. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
There are people whose job. Oh, okay. I can't get it up. I'm disgusting. Yeah. You're going to pay me now to ruin somebody's life. Good. I like that idea because I'm rotting inside. That's what a divorce attorney is.
Have you ever met a divorce attorney, like socially? Or
yes.
How did you react to them?
I said, start digging. I gave them a shovel. It's out by the Long Island Sound. Just keep digging. I'll tell you when you're done.
You dig. I got to run to the store real quick, grab some lye.
I like convincing people that they're assholes. What they do for a living is... one of my favorite memories of you, and I have many, is I had just done a benefit for a private school at the Improv. And I'm standing out front, and you go, what did you just do in there? I said, I did a benefit for, I think it was called Wildwood. And you go, why would you fucking help a bunch of rich Jews who pull their kids out of the public schools? And as you're saying it, this woman's waiting at the Valley Park, and she goes, what's the problem with the school? It's a good school, and we have diversity. And you fucking you didn't even lay into her. You just deconstructed her whole world. It was like when I met Eve Ensler from the Vagina Monologues, who didn't know who she was up against. And I said to her, you really don't want to do this with me. You don't want to go there, Eve.
And you explained to this woman that one of the tenets of Judaism that's written in the Old Testament is that you dedicate your life to public education.
Tikkun olam, you heal the world. You don't take your idiot kid and try to give him a leg up by spending $50,000 a year at a private school. Private schools, don't get me, and charter schools.
Yeah.
Do not hire anybody who's a graduate of a private school. Just if you're a boss and you have a job applicant and they say, I went to Harvard. Really? Well, we don't hire your kind here.
Yeah, right. Also, because both of our kids went through public schools, and your daughter went to LA public schools, and then she got into fucking Berkeley, which is a state school.
Well, I pulled some strings. I'm kidding.
Yeah, she's on the rowing team, which is fun because she's never done that before. And the blackface keeps dripping off because she sweats so much.
Yeah. But poor Felicity Huffman. Don't you think Bill Macy wore a wire? Don't you think he turned Felicity in?
He didn't seem to get brought up in this case. Every time they're throwing shade, it's always against her. It's never against him.
If I were married to Felicity Huffman, I would have worn a wire in bed. Felicity.
But my point is, your daughter got into Berkeley. My son has a bunch of friends that got into Berkeley, and they're not the sharpest kids in the world. They worked hard, but they weren't creating a new science club and getting 4.3 averages. And then we knew kids that went to private schools who didn't get into Berkeley, and his friends
they're weak.
But also, they're weak. Some of these schools are looking for kids that are strong enough to get through a fucking big urban public school.
Right. They're weak. You send your kid to a private school, you weaken them.
Yeah.
You give them a false sense of security.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where you went to college. It's where you say you went to college.
Right.
I learned that at Oxford.
Well, you went to Columbia.
Yeah, sort of.
What do you mean, sort of?
But I didn't get an education. So, yeah.
Were you doing stand-up while you were there?
And that's a character flaw, by the way.
Yeah.
That was because I was an asshole and I had no confidence in myself, and I felt I needed a BMW to get laid. So I applied to these schools because I had such low self-esteem that I needed that and so anybody who went to Harvard is a piece of shit inside. They will always think of themselves as pieces of shit. That's why they went to Harvard. It's a school made up of people who are pieces of shit. You don't get a better education at Harvard. You go there for the status and to make connections.
Mm-hmm. You go for the sweatshirt.
You go for the sweatshirt. How much you have kids?
Yeah.
There's only so much information you can shove into their fucking heads.
Yeah.
2 and 2 equals 4 if you go to Harvard or if you go to a community college.
Yeah.
So go to a community college.
I know there was this comedian in Boston. I wish I could remember who it was. And he had this bit about like, so what happens exactly if you go to Suffolk Community College and the teacher is up there and he's teaching about Manifest Destiny and you ask about how much of the Spanish was the influence in that, and they go, and he looks in the book and he goes, shit, I can't tell you that. If you go to Harvard, they can tell you that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you going to college to learn, or are you going to meet somebody who could recommend you for a job?
Right. Right.
And if that's what you get out of going to these colleges, you're hopeless and you're weak and you're easily crushed.
Yeah. What is the closest you've ever come to a gay act with another man?
Taking it up the ass night after night for 3 years with my best friend Raul. He would bend me over and fuck me in the ass, and I would jerk off and scream, I love you, Raul, more than I love women. This is the most fun, this is the most pleasant thing I've ever felt in my life. Oh, Raul, keep going. Let me finish. I'm coming while I jerk off. But keep pumping my ass. I think that's the closest I've gotten to. Is that gay? I don't know.
The irony is you only did it in a closet.
We didn't kiss, so it wasn't gay.
Yeah, right. Oh, God. Every time I give you a question that you could be vulnerable with, I ask you about your relationship with your father, and you start doing fart jokes.
Was that gay? That's close to being gay?
It was just a phase.
I said it with a low timbre to my voice, so there was nothing gay about it.
Walk me through you packing to go on the road.
I thought I just did with Raul.
You brought Raul with you.
I pack. He packed. To go on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every comic that's gone on the road over the years, you get it down to a science. Honestly,
I've discovered hoodies.
Yeah.
You want the truth? I shouldn't tell. I don't get repeat business. People see me on a Tuesday night and they go, okay. So that's who David Feldman is. Won't be coming back for the Thursday show, which means that I can bring 2 hoodies, 2 pairs of underwear when my OCD is acting up. Otherwise, and liquid detergent. You buy a little liquid detergent, and you hang your socks and your underwear up, and you just rotate your clothes.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Just get a hoodie. I've been so bad that, you go to Old Navy. Yeah. Like you land and you go, I need a toothbrush. And I'll go to Old Navy and, buy something.
Wow. I love that's rock and roll.
And as long as I have my computer and my Noxema and a hairnet and I don't know. I'm a light packer.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I hate.
That's not what Raul says.
Oh boy. I love the fact that everything you need in life can be reduced into a valise.
Yeah.
You really don't need much.
No, I've got it down to where if I go for 4 days, I have exactly 4 pairs of underwear, 4 pairs of socks, 4 T-shirts. And I'm like you. I bring sweaters. I take it up a notch. I bring 2 sweaters and 1 pair of jeans, or 1 pair of khakis, and that's it.
Don't you have a uniform?
What did I
have a uniform? You can, you just underwear and 2 pairs of underwear. No, actually, just 1 extra pair of underwear.
Yeah.
And socks that you land. You put on the clean underwear.
Yeah.
To get rid of all the mudging, and then the next night, but you hang it up in the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
It's dry. You're good to go. Why is that so difficult?
That's the way to go. Keep it simple. I think. And what's amazing is, as far as uniforms, like when you think about the possibility, like Halloween, I fucking love it. Everybody loves it. You get dressed up. It sort of releases your inhibitions. It gives you something to talk about. It shows some creativity. And then 364 days, we all go back to wearing almost the exact same thing as everybody else. Right. And why not be the village people? Why not decide, I'm going to be a fucking Indian all year? I'm going to be a cowboy all year. I mean, I guess if you live in Texas, you dress like that. But like to be like the urban cowboy in a city like LA. Just something.
I don't dress up for Halloween.
Never did?
I mean, as a kid.
When I was a teenager, I dressed up as a homemade abortion. And I put ketchup on my face, and I put a hanger around my neck. And all the guys were high-fiving me. Everybody thought it was hilarious. And girls literally didn't talk to me for 3 months after that.
That's great. Did you really do that?
Yeah, I really did that.
How old were you?
I was probably 15.
Hey, can you pitch a show?
Sure.
Because I always thought it would be funny to have like superheroes called abortion babies, and they all survived abortions. They're like super strong babies.
So they were like vacuumed out, thrown in.
Well, one of the characters would have a head that's kind of. And there'd be like they're the abortion babies, and it's like they're part of the Marvel universe.
And their kryptonite is a vacuum cleaner. They hear a vacuum cleaner, they just start running.
Or a large breast.
No, they all fold their clothes. Nobody hangs up their clothes on hangers.
Pitch that to Judd for me, will you? I would love to do a show where you and I get meetings and pitch horrible shows, and we wear undercover, an undercover camera.
Yeah.
We're just pitching abortion babies for Saturday morning. Our
agent has a hat on with a camera in it, and he's just going back and forth, catching their reactions. That's funny. Have you ever lent anybody a sizable amount of money?
Yes.
Who, and did they pay it back?
Oh, I'd rather not say. Yes, they did.
Did it affect the relationship while they were?
Yes, because I was charging 50% vig. Asking me if I've lent money. All I do is lend. I get a little money, I put it out on the street. Of course I lend money.
I put it on the street. And then you step on it, right? You buy stuff and you step on it.
I've lent money, but if you're going to lend somebody money, it's good to be prepared not to see it again. But I have lent money in the past. I don't like doing it. Was
it a friend that had hit hard times?
Mm-hmm.
And their career then picked up again, and they were able to pay you back?
Yeah, I said, this is the last time I'm allowing you in the executive poker game. See if you can win it back. And if you win it back, you're gone, Davey. You're gone, Davey. We did a little bust out at his sporting goods store. But he was good for it.
That's great.
Lending money.
Have you ever borrowed money?
Yes, I have.
Did you pay it back?
No, I did not. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Did you?
But I did hate the person who lent me the money.
I was just going to say, how did you feel about the person?
The same, they say that the phenomenon of the Heimlich maneuver is that nobody said, if you give somebody the Heimlich maneuver, they don't say thank you, especially if you're not wearing a condom while you perform the Heimlich maneuver on them. No, people don't say thank you. They're so embarrassed. And there is this phenomenon of when you owe somebody money and you owe them money, you hate them because you remind them, they remind you of, it's like good people. We hate good people because they remind us of what we're not.
Right. Right.
So if you meet a good person who's honest and decent, we loathe them because they're a constant reminder of what we'll never be, which is why, we don't hang out with them and talk badly about them behind their backs.
Yeah. Don't
hire them. People don't want to, in show business, you don't want to hire somebody who's decent.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Dude, I used to do benefits. I think I still do. I've decided whether I'm going to keep doing it. But I do benefits for the Best Buddies, which is people with intellectual disabilities. And, I work with them all year. And then once a year, I do a big benefit at the Comedy Store. And we raise tons of money. But I can't tell you how many comics look down on me. They think that I'm virtue signaling. That's what one person said. I'm virtue signaling. Whereas I was just raised Catholic. I was raised that you got to walk the walk. Well, I don't think about heaven, but it's ingrained in me that if you have the ability to help other people, it's just a duty. It's not something you think about. You just do it. And I know with Jews, it's the opposite, but
you trick people into doing benefits for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, but it's like I really did feel like there was a resentment that I was virtue signaling, and some people wouldn't do the benefit. Mostly because there's so many comics that love to say retard and then make fun of people with disabilities. And I always think there's no lower fucking joke than that. People that were born a certain way that they struggle with, who, by the way, are the most joyous people on the planet. And, to take the easy laugh off of that, I've just never had any respect. And there's certain comics that wouldn't do it because they do retard jokes.
Anybody who does a retard joke, that's just gay to do a joke like that. You shouldn't do retard joke.
All right, I want you to rank.
Well, let me say something about virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Though there are people who their toxic mold in your life, not your life, but where they go, oh, how are you? And you're doing, I saw you on, Letterman or the Tonight Show. You were so great. I was rooting. Go fuck yourself. Anybody who goes out of their way to tell you how much they're rooting for you, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. And you're just thinking, where are the daggers?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just trying to suck me into your web of deceit and dishonesty. You're just flattering me with compliments so that you can just cut me off at the knees.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I don't like.
What a way to go through life, David.
Anybody who's nice to you. I remember when my daughter first said, "I love you." I go, "What's she doing here? What is she doing?
What's her angle?
What's her angle? How is she playing me here? You love me, really? Then pick up a phone, call NBC, and tell them to buy my pilot."
There is an age where you realize your kids are playing you, and it's like it's a real loss of innocence moment. I can remember my daughter giving me a hug one time, and within 15 minutes asking me about sleeping over at someone's house and I had enjoyed the hug, and it really hurt.
You know what? This is the God's honest truth. I took my kids, they were 10 and 7, to see Lisa Lampanelli at the Wiltern.
You did?
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't believe. In all honesty, I don't believe. I believe kids should see Family Guy, South. They should see everything. Don't pretend. You know, I don't believe in. I'm being serious, and I happen to think Lisa Lampanelli is amazing.
Yeah, I love her.
And I wish she didn't stop. And you know, when she drops the N word, you know, 20. It's like a science. I was at the Wiltern with my kids. And when she finally drops the N word, I looked at my watch. It was exactly 20 minutes into her act. And the place just like, it was genius.
Yeah.
You know, to see black people like applauding her for it's like, you know, that's, and walking out with my kids, you know, we were discussing it, you know, and the lesson that reason I brought them to see her, you know, is the tickets were free. And context, that there's a time and a place for everything. And, but they were so happy, and they kept going, but she did cross the line here, and she did cross the line there. And they were playing me so that I would take them to go see Bobby Slayton. Like they were actually, because they were like playing me for another trip to the Wiltern.
Oh, that's great.
Why doesn't Lisa do it anymore?
I think she felt like she didn't like the environment, the new woke comedy environment. And, you know, she had gotten slammed a couple times on the internet. People took some clips of her. And, you know, like you said, they didn't see the first 20 minutes before she dropped the N-word. They saw just the dropping of the N-word, end of clip. And so I think she sort of felt like she didn't want to go through the drama of all of that. And she realized more and more that she got a lot of self-help. She dropped a lot of weight. She, I think she kind of found herself and didn't feel like being self-deprecating on stage any longer.
So she got healthy.
She got healthy, yeah. And I think she does pretty well with this motivational speaking stuff now.
Right. I mean, the reason Rickles is so funny, the reason she was so funny, the reason Slayton is so funny is they're getting away with it.
Yeah.
You can't do, they're like Philippe Petit walking the high wire and not falling.
Right. Oh, hey, listen, that's my therapist calling. I got to roll.
Really?
Yeah, I have a call. I have a call with my, it's a psychiatrist, so I can get my happy pills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wish we could talk longer.
Well,
but like you said, let's talk regularly anyway.
Yeah.
Because I love seeing you.
Well, give my best to your shrink.
I will.
Is it Dr. Bendelman?
It's Dr. Sherman.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it.
All right. I love you, buddy.
I love you too.
You're so great at this. You are so great at this. You really are.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You are a professional. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And what can we plug for you before we go?
My podcast.
Okay. It's just called The David Feldman Show, right?
Yes. Please come and listen to my podcast. And then you'll do my podcast?
I will anytime. Hit me up. I love your podcast. Go listen to it, people. It's sharp. It's funny. You just heard him for an hour. All right. I love you, man.
I love you too. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.